the continental United States. And now to your host, world-renowned wrestling commentator, Gordon Soley.
Thank you. Thank you so very, very much, and welcome to another hour of Continental Championship Wrestling. I'm Gordon Soley, your host, and first of all, let me thank Joe Pedicino, my co-host on Pro Wrestling This Week, for pinch hitting for me last week. I greatly appreciate the efforts he put forth, and I understand it was an outstanding program. So once again, my thanks to Joe Pedicino for filling in during the time that I was absent. We have some outstanding matches in store for you during the next hour. We're going to be seeing a Continental Championship match. The Mystic, Kevin Sullivan, going up against the Bullet. We're going to be seeing a Southeastern title match, the Hustler Rip Rogers, going up against a man from Canada who has a streak going of 51 consecutive victories. In addition to this, we'll be seeing Jerry Stubbs and the Dirty White Boy in action. We'll be talking to and watching Tom Pritchard and much, much more. All of this upcoming here on Continental Championship Wrestling during this next hour. So by all means, do stay tuned. And right now, we're set to go with our first match. Let's turn it over to our ring announcer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this special television event is for the Continental Heavyweight title. It is one fall with...
We've got a brawl breaking out here before anything ever got started. We've got some real problems down there as Scott Armstrong has been horribly abused by Kevin Sullivan, and now the Bullet is caught up with Kevin Sullivan. Continental title on the line, but the Bullet isn't worrying about that. He just wants to settle the score once and for all for Kevin Sullivan. This match has never gotten into the ring, but it is now. The Bullet charges in there, catches Kevin Sullivan, catches him again. And that mask that Sullivan is wearing is taking its toll on the hands of the Bullet. No question about that. Caught him in those quadriceps femoris muscles. Caught him on the chin once again, and Sullivan backing away. The Bullet uncorks another one. Now it's Kevin Sullivan. Now look at Steve Armstrong outside the ring. The New Guinea headhunters are after him. Scott Armstrong is out. No question about that. He caught it with that steel chair administered by Kevin Sullivan. And we've got total bedlam and chaos now. The Bullet. Now, Steve and Scott are both down. So the Armstrong's in serious trouble, but the Bullet carrying on. The count is on. And the Bullet executing those chops with absolute precision. Now Steve Armstrong back in action. The Bullet charges back into the ring. In the upper left-hand corner of your screen, it's the Bullet. A series of powerful blows to the head and to the face of Kevin Sullivan. Sullivan retaliates. A boot into the upper thigh of the Bullet. Kevin Sullivan, of course, the Continental Champion, and you see now that we've got Steve Armstrong being brought into the fray. He was down there trying to help his brother Scott. Scott being attended to outside the ring. And it is Kevin Sullivan still very much in charge of the situation. A chop into the throat of Steve Armstrong by the New Guinea headhunters as they are having a field day now on Steve Armstrong. Wait a minute. Armstrong ducked to one side. Meanwhile, the Bullet's back on his feet. The Bullet battling it away in the upper left-hand corner. Down in the center of the screen now, it is Steve Armstrong. Off the ropes. Caught up. The Bullet gets the pinfall. The Bullet gets the pinfall. And the thousands jamming Boutwell Auditorium erupt into one gigantic roar. The Bullet has taken the Continental title, but they are not done with the Bullet yet. Steve Armstrong trying to move into the ring. They have ripped the mask off of the Bullet. They have ripped the mask away from the Bullet. Scott Armstrong has moved back into the ring. The Bullet now being covered up by Steve Armstrong. And we never did get a real good look at the face of the Bullet. We never did get a good look at the face of the Bullet, but he has won the Continental title. And they're keeping that cover on him. Let's keep that camera on the Bullet. Maybe we'll get a look at him. Steve and Scott Armstrong protecting him right now. They are definitely protecting him. Yeah. And the Bullet still be attended to by Steve and Scott Armstrong. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll be back and perhaps we can get a word with either Steve, Scott, or the Bullet, and with Kevin Sullivan after we pause for these words. Mississippi in the Lavender Coliseum on Tuesday, December 30th. Match time is 8 p.m. In a holiday spectacular, the loser to leave Columbus, Steve Armstrong, faces the Mystic Kevin Sullivan. Continental title, the Bullet against the Flame. Tag team Southern Street Fight, the Tennessee Stud and Robert Fuller against the New Guinea Headhunters. Southeastern title, Street's last chance. It will be the exotic Adrian Street against the hustler Rip Rogers. The Nightmares against the Dirty White Boys and Jerry Stubbs. Before I talk to the former champion, let me see if we can't get a word from the brand new Continental champion, the Bullet.
Let me say this. Don't worry about it, Bullet. Just save your breath, brother. Kevin Sullivan, it's all coming to an end, you mystic son of a gun, you. Somebody is going to leave town. I don't care if it's me or you, but somebody is, brother. This stuff ain't going to happen no more. But here's the man with the belt. So cry, you baby. Cry, baby.
Tell you something. I sent Brad Armstrong packing. Lose or leave town match. Continental rematch with the Bullet. Who's your old man? I just showed the people. Your skinny little brother trying to be an announcer. I'm going to tell you this. I'm opening up the gates of hell, Mr. Soley. I'm bringing in Abdullah the Butcher. I'm bringing in the Flame. You see this mask that you must ride it around in now belongs to me. The Continental title will be mine again soon. You see, you stole it 2 weeks in a row. And I'll guarantee you this. Before it's over, Mr. Soley, there won't be an Armstrong walking the face of the earth. And if I have any more cute remarks about ex-champions, there may be one commentator that may vanish.
We'll be back.
Television event is for the Southeastern Heavyweight title. Now in the ring from Canada, 255 pounds. He calls himself Mr. And ladies and gentlemen, now in the ring, he is the Southeastern Heavyweight Champion, 232 pounds from Los Angeles, California, Hustler Rip Rogers.
Okay, the Hustler Rip Rogers getting set to defend his title against the challenge of Mr. Dynamo. The exotic Adrian Street has joined me here on the set. I think before this match gets underway, it should be noted that Miss Brenda Britton has been reinstated, and yet she is rather conspicuous by her absence.
Exactly what I was going to say, Gordon. I was going to say this bad news that she's been brought back. With good news, we can't see her ugly flea-bag face. But very often with these type of people, that's exactly when you need to worry, is when you can't see them. Not only am I going to be keeping my eyes open, but Miss Linda's a lot better. I'm not going to bring her out at this stage to risk her being injured or damaged by Fleabag number 2. But she's told me that she's going to be keeping her eyes open. So if there's any Pearl Harboring to be done by the likes of Fleabag Britain, Miss Linda's going to be there too.
Interesting observation from the exotic one, Adrian Street. Hustler Rip Rogers in the pink trunks, and he lashes out, catches Mr. Dynamo, catches him once again. Mr. Dynamo, 255 pounds. A win streak of 51, and good reversal by Dynamo here. Has Rogers in trouble? He may have a pinfall. No, sir. No, sir. Look close for a moment.
Did look close. It's a big lad he's on with. He's going to have his work cut out if he's only just pulling the fella around. And you mentioned, like, dressed in the pink. I'm sure he's very proud of the of my pink belt, the one he stole here on television. But he didn't look so bright. He didn't look so pink. In actual fact, he looked rather blue last time when I laid his own nunchucks across his head for him.
Well, I can understand how you feel about that. They lock up once again, collar and elbow, and that time it's the Hustler Rip Rogers driving a knee into the midsection of Mr. Dynamo. Mr. Dynamo fires back, and a good counter by Mr. Dynamo. Rogers tried to set him for a body slam that time, and Mr. Dynamo was one step ahead. Excellent move on his part. So Rogers has got his problems here with Mr. Dynamo.
Yes, I was surprised. There's a bit more to that Mr. Dynamo than you realize at first appearance.
Well, with 51 straight victories just coming out of Canada, where wrestling around the Calgary area and what have you is pretty doggone rough.
Oh, yes, I've been up in the Calgary area myself. Yeah, it is pretty rough. Rough area.
Good reversal that time, but Dynamo charged in. Rip Rogers ducked to one side, and so Rogers holding a momentary advantage here. Rogers now using the flat of the foot. And so it is Mr. Dynamo taking a lot of abuse, being hurtled out of the ring, out onto that concrete floor. And he's got an elbow giving him some problems here, and Rogers, wasting no time, charges outside of the ring and very quickly hurls Mr. Dynamo back inside the squared circle. Rogers moving in on his man. Rogers now issuing all the punishment he wishes to. I would assume that any way you can get this man is the way you want.
Exactly. And preferably underfoot, Gordon. That's the way I'd like him, underfoot, because as far as I'm concerned, he's just a flea bag, he's just a doormat. A lot of people have said to me that they thought that he was imitating me with his blonde hair and his pink clothes and things like that. All I've got to say is, if he's imitating me, it's supposed to be the fondest form of flattery. As far as I'm concerned, he's just a fat, ugly little duckling trying to imitate a beautiful swan.
Quite an observation from the exotic one, Adrian Street. Rogers using that elbow very effectively has Mr. Dynamo in trouble. And Rogers, as I said, of course, very much in command of the situation right now. Hooks those legs, catches him high on the abdominal wall up into the chest area. And across the base of the esophagus, and Mr. Dynamo coming up very, very slowly. But fires to the midsection of Rip Rogers. Rogers rips across the mask. Rogers delivering some punishment that time, but Dynamo fires back. Dynamo catches him again, and Dynamo now determined to put this man Rip Rogers away. He wants that title. Bottom of the beautiful lariat coming off the ropes. Mr. Dynamo has Rogers in trouble. Rogers powers out at the last second.
That was close. I thought for a second I was going to have to run down the ring and issue a challenge against Mr. Dynamo. Hold on, look what's happening now, Gordon.
And it is Mr. Dynamo up on that second ring rope. He dives down. Rogers rolls to one side. Dynamo took the brunt of that in the head, and now it is Rip Rogers moving into a Boston Crab. Full Boston Crab, and Dynamo concedes as Rip Rogers put a punishing full Boston Crab on Mr. Dynamo. And now Rogers loath to let go, but he does indeed successfully defend his Southeastern Heavyweight Championship. And so it really leaves it up to the gentleman with me right now, the exotic one, Adrian Street, to be the man to take it away from him.
That's a very effective hold, actually. The Boston Crab. It was made famous in Britain by a guy called Bert Azarati. He was only 5'6" tall, but weighed over 300 pounds. They used to call him Killer Azarati. He was a British Empire champion. Very tough person to contend with.
Had that low center of gravity, and once he got the crab on the man and bent him backwards, it was over.
Oh, it was absolutely. They didn't call him Killer for nothing, and that was his favorite hold.
Well, we can certainly understand that. And so Rip Rogers does win with the Boston Crab, a hold that the exotic one, Adrian Street, is very, very familiar with. Now, I'll tell you what, if you don't mind, I know you've made a number of music videos. We've been inundated with letters and cards and telephone calls requesting that we play another one of your videos. Do you mind?
Oh, charmed, my dear Gordon, charmed.
All right. I'll tell you what, let's do then. As it's pretty obvious that the exotic Adrian Street is still after the hustler Rip Rogers and that Southeastern title. And until, obviously, Miss Brenda makes her appearance, Miss Linda apparently will not be making her appearance. So a standoff situation there, and I find that most intriguing indeed. Right now, let's go to this music video of the exotic one, Adrian Street. It's match, but Southern Street Fight rules, which really means there are no rules.
What do you mean there's no rules? I'm not so sure. I'm not from the South, and I'm not so sure about a Southern street fight match, but I certainly would like to know more.
I'll tell you what, before you go any farther, the Tennessee Stud and Robert Fuller facing the New Guinea Headhunters, tag team match, Southern Street Fight rules. Let's turn to Robert Fuller and the Tennessee Stud and find out what that does entail.
Good old Southern street fight. Now, I know you don't know anything about it, Kevin Sullivan, and I know them goons from New Guinea don't, but you can see, you can wear anything you want to the ring, bring anything you want to the ring. I got me a Silver Eagle belt buckle here. I'm going to tattoo that on the forehead of one of you New Guinea idiots. And then my brother here is going to take this strap, and he's going to strap the hide off of one of them's back. I intend to take off these boots and cram them right down one of them's throat, and I'm going to get the opportunity to finally use my old Tennessee ugly stick. And when we finish, Southern bread, when we through, there'll be Southern dead. That's exactly what they're going to be, a Southern dead. We're going to put this ugly stick, and you boys was already ugly. You're going to be very, very ugly when we finish with this Southern street fight. If you don't know how it goes, you shouldn't have signed the contract. It's too late to back out now. Just see you show up, boys.
I guess it,
What
boy.
the hell are you talking about? The guy had a club. What the hell's going on here? That guy got a cast and a belt, cowboy boots. Hey, first of all, this should have some kind of rules. You got a guy running around with a ball bat, Mr. Soley.
Well, it didn't look like a ball bat to me. It looked like smaller than that.
Something smaller than that. You know, I told you this before,
Anything
Mr. Soley.
goes.
Anything goes. Well, let me tell you something, boys. Southern born, Southern bred, and soon you're going to be Southern dead. I can't stand how this thing has turned around. Somebody's been manipulating promoters, Mr. Soley, if you get what I'm talking about.
Well, we're going to find out. They're going to meet in that tag team Southern Street Fight rules.
Ladies and gentlemen, this special television event is one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Now in the ring, 225 pounds from Montgomery, Alabama, Burrhead Jones. And his partner, making his start in professional wrestling, 220 pounds from Savannah, Georgia, Mr. Gene Williams. Gentlemen, now at ringside, they are the Continental Tag Team Champions. First, from Pensacola, Florida, 241 pounds, he calls himself Mr. Perfect, Jerry Stubbs. His partner, from Bucksnort, Tennessee, 232 pounds, the Dirty White Boy.
Okay, the Dirty White Boy and Jerry Stubbs going up against Burrhead Jones and Gene Williams. Now, Gene Williams in the orange trunks you might recognize. Gene, of course, has been an official here on Continental Championship Wrestling for these many months. He is an aspiring professional competitor, has been really itching to get a chance to get into the squared circle as a professional competitor. And so tonight he is making his debut as a professional wrestler, and 222 pounds actually out of Savannah, Georgia. He moves outside of the ring, and it will be Jerry Stubbs moving out against Burrhead Jones. Have to admire this young fellow, Gene Williams, because there is a great transition from an official when you can really, in a sense, utilize that black and white striped shirt as a measure of protection. Tonight, there's no shirt, just a pair of orange trunks, and his only protection will be his own capabilities in the ring. The Dirty White Boy taking quick advantage of Burrhead Jones. Burrhead Jones in a good reversal here. The Nightmares have joined me, and obviously they're picking every opportunity they can to scout this team of Jerry Stubbs and the Dirty White Boy.
That's right, Mr. Sully. Appreciate you letting us come out here. You know, we're not going to take anything away from Jerry Stubbs and the Dirty White Boy because they are a tough tag team. However, the Nightmares are a tough tag team also. Right now they're going against Burrhead Jones and Gene Williams, you know, who is referee, who is trying to break into the profession as a wrestler. And, you know, we'd like to congratulate him on his debut. And, you know, maybe he'll do real good. We're looking forward to it, and we're going to stand here and watch and hope things go well.
Well, fair enough. Some very encouraging comments here from the Nightmares. Right now, though, Mr. Perfect Jerry Stubbs tying up that leg of Burrhead Jones. Jones back to his feet. And it is Stubbs making some sort of complaint to the referee. To no avail, I might point out.
Exactly, as he always does. You know, every opportunity they get, they're going to gripe about something. You know, just a little background, Mr. Sully, to all the wrestling fans out there who are watching the program. Several weeks ago in Knoxville, Tennessee, we had a match, and the match was videotaped. We were in a tag team tournament. We wrestled several times. We made it to the finals, and we wrestled Jerry Stubbs and the Dirty White Boy in the finals for the Continental Tag Team titles. Well, as I said earlier, the match was videotaped. However, that videotape has mysteriously disappeared. We don't know what happened to it. And what happened was they did, in fact, get a pin on one of us, but also, what they have not told, we got a pin on one of them.
Pardon me, a good leapfrog by Williams, and a good arm drag takedown. Gene Williams acquitting himself extremely well here against Tony Anthony, the Dirty White Boy. And I'll tell you what, your comments earlier may be prophecy in the making, because Mr. Williams is looking extremely good against this pair.
Yeah, very good. That was a fantastic move he just made for a young guy breaking into business. That was a fantastic move. And, you know, getting back to the mysteriously disappearing tape, we did, in fact, have one of the champions now pinned. The referee did not count fairly. Now, Bob Geigel, had he been able to view the tape, Bob Geigel would have viewed the film and known right away what to do in a situation like that. We feel that we were right. We're not out of here crying and complaining. We're stating a fact, and that's exactly what happened. Right, partner?
That's right. Just watching Burrhead Jones here, you know, he's been around for a long time, and he's showing some pretty good moves.
Right now, he's retaliating against Stubbs. Caught him with a good arm drag takedown once again.
Beautiful.
Burrhead Jones looking very much in control of the situation. And Mr. Perfect decides to leave the ring and think it over. And Burrhead Jones giving him a small expression of his feeling.
Yeah, the Chrome Dome connection was just getting theirs, right?
No question about that.
Hey, Gordon, I'd like to congratulate the Bullet on winning the Continental title earlier in the program.
Well, congratulations are certainly in order for the Bullet. He did win the Continental Heavyweight Championship, and our congratulations to him. Well, we have a second here, too. I certainly want to say a special hi to Mr. and Mrs. Dukas in Gatlinburg. We sure hope that Mom Dukas is feeling a lot better now. And anyway, our special hi to the two of them.
Exactly. And right here you see Gene Williams come in, and he's doing, well, he made a mistake. He come in too soon, and he got caught up in the corner over there. So he's going to have to kind of, as our old football coach used to tell us, suck it up and go. Tough it out.
Oh, brother. Caught with a lariat coming off the ropes that time. That's where the inexperience took over. And an Irish whip into the ropes. That momentum carried him back into the center of the ring, and the Dirty White Boy was quick to take advantage of that situation. High backdrop on Williams. That jarred those 26 movable vertebrae. A headbutt to the side of the temple of... and did not allow the pin. Now that's where...
They could have had him pinned there, I believe. See, they know he's a young wrestler, and they're just... Because of their experience, they're what you would call toying with him, which I don't think is a fair thing to do to somebody trying to get into the wrestling business, because he is trying hard, and there's no reason to toy with him like that.
Kind of like the Chicago Bears with the Tampa Bay Bucks a week ago.
Exactly right. What was it, 48-14?
I don't even want to talk about it. And meanwhile, Jerry Stubbs coming down, elbow across into the pectoralis majors of Williams. Again, no pinfall.
You know, Mr. Soley, as my partner stated earlier, and as you as well, Mr. Simmons is doing everything he can. I admire him because he came out into the ring. You know, he had guts to get out there, take off his referee shirt and get out there. And he's in there and he's taking a lot of punishment right now. But what he needs to do is go over and make a tag as quick as he can.
He does indeed, and of course he's also carrying the animosity of people like Mr. Perfect Jerry Stubbs and the Dirty White Boy. All of the times that he was officiating in the past, any rulings he might have put against them, they're paying him back for it right now. Now they can do it with impunity. They just caught him with a lariat, and Williams in a lot of trouble here now. Let's see what they're going to do. Inside step over, reverse Indian deathlock. And I'll tell you what, Williams is, that's it. No man can hold up under that. There's no question about it. Inside step over into a reverse Indian deathlock. Williams concedes, and so the Dirty White Boy and Jerry Stubbs victorious over a very, very game young competitor making his debut tonight. And, oh, wait a minute. An attack on Burrhead Jones now. And now they're after Williams once again. We've got some carnage going on in the ring now.
Well, the match is over. He did give up. There's no reason to take a young wrestler like this and punish him like that.
No, it certainly isn't, man.
They're deliberately trying to hurt the man. They're not going to give him a chance to make a name for himself. This is totally unfair.
Well, they've called for the bell again.
You know, I think that's not a very good showing of the Continental Tag Team Champions to take a young wrestler like that and do something like that.
Well, I certainly have to agree with you in that respect.
There ain't no sense in this, Gordon. We're going to go down here.
We're going to stop this, Gordon.
Wait a minute. The Nightmares are on their way. The Nightmares are on their way. Meanwhile, Burrhead Jones and young Gene Williams have both been hurdled from the ring. Hold on. Here come the Nightmares. And the Nightmares are making hay now. exploding with everything they've got against Jerry Stubbs, Mr. Perfect, and the Dirty White Boy. And the Nightmares are wasting no time. They became rather incensed over the treatment to Gene Williams and Perhead Jones. And so the Nightmares continue to wreak havoc, if you will. All right, Tony Anthony trying to better himself here. Referee Roy George trying to restore some kind of order. But look at the Nightmares. High vertical suplex. Beautiful high vertical suplex by the Nightmares. And now the Nightmares in some great double teaming here as the Dirty White Boy, Tony Anthony, tries to even things up. And so we've got a second match going on right now. The Nightmares against the Dirty White Boy and Mr. Perfect Jerry Stubbs, and the Nightmare caught with a headbutt driven through the ropes. Hung up in those ropes, if you will. And we're going to have to get some kind of order restored here. The Nightmare hanging onto those ring ropes. Double teaming. Wait a second. Here comes a second Nightmare. And, well, we've got another, as I said, Pier 6 brawl going on. We've got to get some order restored. We'll be back. We'll be back in just a moment. Wrestling in Columbus, Mississippi at Lavender Coliseum on Tuesday, December 30th. It's the last opportunity for the exotic Adrian Street to regain his title.
I only need one chance. All my fans in Columbus know that I only need one chance to get my belt back. And just to show that there's no hard feelings and somebody as wonderful as myself can even extend the Christmas spirit to somebody as grotty as the Fleabag, here's a little Christmas card. If you haven't got a Christmas cracker, what do? Grab yourself a Fleabag and rip it right in two. Rest in peace, Mr. Rogers.
All right. Gentlemen.
You know, Mr. Soley, it's a crying shame that the Dirty White Boy and Jerry Stubbs have to treat a couple of fine athletes that was just breaking into professional wrestling. So Ken and I had to go down and try to get the situation straight, and we got into a wild fight. You know, the last time we were in Columbus, we had a 30-minute time limit, and we fought those boys right down to the wire. And if we'd have had 2 more minutes, I guarantee we'd have beat them right there. Well, this time, no time limit. If it goes all night, we will be there, and we will beat you.
Let's listen to these comments.
Columbus, Mississippi, baby. Tuesday, December 30th. Street. Everybody in Columbus, Mississippi knows I'm the honorary mayor of that town. I'm the most popular man in that town, and this is your last chance. It's going to be in Columbus, Mississippi, and I'm going to retain my Southeastern belt. You're a little early, boys.
Let me tell you something about Columbus, Mississippi. You know, they're over there ratting and raving about they took us to a 30-minute time limit, which they thought was an hour. Well, they ought to read their contract before they sign it. Well, let me tell you something, Smurfs. We're coming back to Columbus, Mississippi, and I don't care about you kids out of school. You better bring your lunch, because it's going to take you all night to get it done.
That's in Columbus, Mississippi, and I'll guarantee you one thing. If you're looking for top-flight wrestling action, you'll find it only with Continental Championship Wrestling. We'll see you in Columbus. Tom Pritchard, at points in his life, has been one of the most controversial athletes that professional wrestling has ever seen. However, recently in Knoxville, Tennessee, things have really become interesting.
Gordon, it's become interesting for one thing and one thing only. I've been wrestling Roy Lee Welch all over this area, and nothing seems to be getting settled. So it seems to me, and it seems to Roy Lee Welch, there's no other way to settle it except for one of us to either get out of the picture completely or to injure somebody so we can't wrestle again. And in my opinion, I underestimated Roy Lee Welch more than I should have at any time in my career. First of all, I underestimated his guts and his brains to maneuver something like he did in Knoxville, Tennessee. And if we could roll that tape, I'll show you exactly what.
All right, I'll tell you what. Let's go to Knoxville, Tennessee right now. Right now, you appeared to have things under control, but he rolls out of the way just in time.
That's what I'm talking about, guts and brains right here. I just gave him a devastating super kick. I went for an elbow, maybe I was a little too confident, and he moved right out of the way. But here, this is what I'm talking about by premeditating. He came down to the ring with some kind of rope hidden in his robe, left at the timekeeper's table. He nailed the referee right there, blinded me, came right outside Knoxville, Tennessee, in front of a capacity crowd, took the rope and clotheslined me right there. This is how I know it was premeditated. There wasn't just some rope laying around the ring. He had it all the way through. Now, if you'll watch right here, he's going to try and hang me with it to try and get me out of wrestling, so he knows there's no competition for the United States Junior Heavyweight Championship.
Well, of course, at the moment, he's using that rope and utilizing extremely well with a series of snap mares. There he used it like a pair of brass knuckles, and obviously you're much the worse for wear for this situation. Roy Lee Welch, of course, is a second-generation, well, actually a third-generation wrestler, so he's got tremendous background.
Third, first, it doesn't matter what generation he is. What matters right now is the man's tying me up in the ropes, and that's why I got this bull rope right out here with me. If he wants to play with ropes, he wants to tie somebody in a rope or tie me in the corner, it doesn't matter to me anymore, Roy Lee. This is where he's trying to put me out of wrestling, just like he was injured, where I would have to put up the belt due to an injury some way. I'd be out of the way right off the top rope, trying to put me out where there'd be no competition. I think he figures if I'm out of the way, it's right in line for him. He's the first contender. He is the top contender. But I've had about enough I can take right now in front of Knoxville, Tennessee. As I said, a capacity crowd saw this, Gordon, and not too many people see me on my back, especially tied up like that. If you want to play with ropes, Roy Lee Welch, I got just the thing for you. I'm being from Texas, and I am a true Texan, born and raised both west and east, and I got the rope right here. If you're man enough, you come from that little state right above Texas we call Oklahoma, who they try and be cowboys, but they know they can never do it, because when it comes to Texas, everything's bigger and everything's better. And if you got any guts, sign for a bull rope match with me. If you got real guts, let's put it on the table now, and let's say the loser gets out of this area. The loser leaves town and goes away for a while.
Wait a minute, you're
I'm
saying
tired of
loser
Roy
leave?
Lee Welch. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying sign it in a bull rope match or loser leave for the United States Junior Heavyweight title. It doesn't matter to me anymore, because I've had it up to here, and I'm through with Roy Lee Welch. One way or another, I'm going to show everybody in this listening area that I am the United States Junior Heavyweight Champion, and I can take that thorn out of my side from Oklahoma and do away with him once and for all.
Well, there you see it, the U.S. Junior Heavyweight Championship belt. This is the point of controversy.
Yeah.
Roy Lee Welch, and he's been challenged. Texas bull rope, loser leave, it doesn't make any difference to Tom Pritchard. He just wants to settle the issue with Roy Lee Welch.
Yeah.
One time and one time for all.
You want to play with ropes? I got the rope right here for you, Roy.
Fair enough. Let's go to our next match.
Ladies and gentlemen, this television event is one fall with television time remaining. It is for the Alabama heavyweight title. Ladies and gentlemen, now in the ring, the challenger, 229 pounds, from Germany, Chris von Colt. Ladies and gentlemen, the Alabama heavyweight champion from Milton, Florida, 229 pounds, Wildcat Wendell Cooley.
Well, Cooley caught before he could even really get into the ring. And Chris Von Colt, using that helmet, caught Cooley across the head, and Cooley's in trouble. And Chris Von Colt very definitely in charge of the situation here. Cooley up against those. Wait a minute now. What is Colt doing now? Well, he's got a set of handcuffs. He's got a set of handcuffs, and he's putting it on one wrist of Wildcat Wendell Cooley. Cooley, who has been stunned and dropped, is caught again by Chris Von Colt, and it is Chris Von Colt again trying to get that, obviously trying to get those cuffs around Wildcat Wendell Cooley. Cooley badly lacerated on the head, and now it's Chris Von Colt. Well, he is obviously now attempting to handcuff him to the turnbuckle, which apparently he has done. And the referee knocked to one side. Chris Von Colt using that chain now. Wildcat Wendell Cooley in trouble. A lot of trouble here. Chris Von Colt using that chain and those handcuffs. Now hurdles the referee out of the ring. Colt and Cooley trying to get a head of steam going here. He is caught again in the head by Chris Von Colt. And we've got a host of problems here. Von Colt now adding further injury. Wait a minute. Well, Von Colt stealing the belt. This match has never really gotten underway. This match has never really gotten underway. Tom Pritchard was there. Chris Von Colt stole the belt. There you see him trying to get that belt back. Cooley still handcuffed. And we're going to have to get an officer of the law. There goes Colt out with the belt. Von Colt is left with the belt. Cooley bleeding rather profusely from the head. And you can hear Pritchard yelling for somebody, a policeman or somebody, to come with a key. And that's exactly what they're doing now. They're getting the key. There's the referee entering the scene. They're getting the key. They've separated Wildcat Wendell Cooley. Meanwhile, Chris Von Colt has stolen the belt. And it'll be interesting to see what Continental Championship Wrestling does about that situation. So, Mr. Von Colt may have won this skirmish, but the battle is yet to be fought between these two. We'll be back, hopefully with some interviews right after these comments. Championship Wrestling returns to Columbus, Mississippi in the Lavender Coliseum on Tuesday, December 30th. Match time is 8 p.m. In a holiday spectacular, the loser to leave Columbus, Steve Armstrong, faces the Mystic Kevin Sullivan. Continental title, the Bullet against the Flame. Tag team Southern Street Fight, the Tennessee Stud Robert Fuller against the New Guinea Headhunters. Southeastern title, Street's Last Chance. It will be the Exotic Adrian Street against the Hustler Rip Rogers. The Nightmares against the Dirty White Boys and Jerry Stubbs. Well, I'll tell you what, and I hesitate to ask a man who's injured like this to join us here at the set, but I've got Wildcat Wendell Cooley and Tom Pritchard. Gentlemen, before I talk to you, let me turn it over to these gentlemen in the ring, and let's see what comments they may have at this particular time.
Pritchard, you made the mistake of your life, mister. Challenge me to a Texas bull rope match. I already had you tied up once. What are you, crazy? Put your title up. That's great. I love it. I don't care. Bull rope match, lose or leave. You've made the mistake of your life, mister.
Let me say this. I know Chris Colt stole the belt. The same thing happened to me last week. I'm sorry it happened, Wendell Cooley. I don't usually act this way. Chris Colt doesn't act this way. He's on serious medication. I had to rush him to the hospital. The belt is gone. The belt, he has left the building, and I'm glad to see a Southern-born boy bleed. I didn't know you bled red.
Well, he stole the belt.
Well, first thing I want to know where my belt is. And I'll tell you what, he may have left the building with my belt, but we've got some championship matches signed, and he'll have to show up with the belt. And I want to tell you, when I get to the building, you won't see me with my damn cowboy boots on, and I won't be playing no Hank Williams Jr. music.
Well, we do have a standby match, but frankly, with the time remaining right now in the program, I don't think it would be fair to either competitor to try and force them to a match of that close proximity. So we will bypass the standby match and kind of review briefly what has happened during the past hour. First of all, of course, we do have a new Continental Heavyweight Wrestling Champion in the form of the Bullet. If I can get him out here later, I will. Secondly, of course, we do have a situation with Rip Rogers and Mr. Dynamo. Mr. Dynamo coming in from Canada, 51 straight victories, going down in defeat to the hustler Rip Rogers. I might add, however, that I certainly don't think that really mars his career too much because of the actions of hustler Rip Rogers himself. Of course, we had a chance to see Tom Pritchard moving up against Roy Lee Welch and Wendell Cooley in an outstanding match against Chris Von Colt. Chris Von Colt stealing that belt. Wendell Cooley, I have a hunch, however, is going to get it back in spades. Right now, let me take a moment, if I can, to talk to the new Continental Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, the Bullet. He was unable to say much earlier in the program due to what happened in the ring. I trust that you've gotten some of that voice back.
Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't talk to you then, Gordon, but you know, I'm real proud of this belt, and I want to tell Kevin Sullivan one thing is for sure, that he didn't really hurt Scott Armstrong as bad as he thought he could. He thought he was going to take him out of business completely. But the Armstrongs got a lot going for them. We're all American family, the first thing to say I want to say about it. The next thing is the holidays are coming up. There's so much bad blood in the air. I've never seen this many lose-or-leave matches on one card in my life. Now, Steve Armstrong, a very dear friend of mine, is signed for one. Kevin Sullivan couldn't be leaving. A lot of people you're seeing before the holidays won't be here after the holidays. Now, I hear that Kevin Sullivan is sending Abdullah the Butcher, who we know is a madman. The Flame, who has hated my guts, and I've hated his for years. There's going to be a lot of new faces, a lot of faces leaving. But this will be a holiday season to settle more personal arguments than any holiday season this man has seen in his entire career. A lot of people won't be here. But as you saw, Kevin Sullivan, you took me down hard, but I'm still standing here, and when it's all over, you'll find the Armstrong